A shocking truth revealed. You won't see this twist coming. The following story is one that has haunted the minds of those who have heard it. It begins as an innocent childhood game, but spirals into an unspeakable nightmare. The events you are about to hear were pieced together from interviews, journals, and local lore. While names and locations have been changed to protect identities, what happened is horrifyingly real. They say you shouldn't play with things you don't understand. For one family in the Pacific Northwest, a game meant for fun opened a door they could never close, and what came through changed their lives forever. In the summer of 1994, the Nakamura family relocated to a quiet suburb near Tacoma, Washington. Akio, the eldest son at 15, was adjusting to life in a new country with his younger siblings, Kenji, 12, and Aiko, 14. Their father had taken a managerial role at a car manufacturing plant, and their mother, ever traditional, maintained strict rules in their household. The Nakamuras brought with them a piece of their heritage, a game called Kokuri-san, a Japanese variation of the Ouija board. Unlike its Western counterpart, Kokuri-san used a coin on a piece of paper marked with kanji characters and numbers. The game was meant to summon a fox spirit to answer questions about the future. The family had played Kokuri-san before in Japan, with nothing more than some eerie but amusing results. However, one night, a careless mistake changed everything. The last time the siblings played Kokuri-san was a humid evening before their move to America. Kenji, always the curious one, had asked the spirit when he would become rich and famous. The coin slid sharply across the paper, spelling out 2 words. Set that in? The atmosphere in the room changed instantly. A low growl, guttural and unnatural, echoed from the shadows. The terrified children hurriedly burned the paper, thinking it would sever the connection. But in their panic, they forgot the most crucial rule of the game. Always tell Kokuri-san to leave. That mistake would follow them across the Pacific. Life in Tacoma seemed promising at first. Akio excelled in school, Aiko found solace in American TV shows, and Kenji remained curious but restless. Yet there was a heaviness in the air, a shadow that seemed to loom over them. Kenji began having vivid nightmares. He would wake up paralyzed, certain a figure stood by his bed breathing heavily. It whispered the same words, over and over. "Feed me." He confided in Akio one afternoon as they walked home from school. "It's not just a dream," Kenji insisted, his voice trembling. "It's real. I can feel it, watching me." Akio dismissed it as stress from the move, until he saw the scratches. 3 long, deep marks ran down Kenji's back, too deliberate to be accidental. That's when Kenji revealed he had secretly bought an American Ouija board. One stormy Friday night, while their parents were out, Akio and Kenji decided to use the board. They believed confronting the entity might force it to leave. Akio was hesitant, but Kenji's desperation won him over. The power went out just as they lit the candles. Undeterred, they placed their fingers on the planchette and began. "Is anyone there?" Akio asked. The planchette moved immediately, almost violently, spelling out, "Hungry." What do you want to eat?" Kenji asked, his voice shaking. The board answered, "Meat." Kenji jumped up, racing to the kitchen to grab some ground beef. But as he returned, the planchette moved again on its own, spelling a single word. "Ah." Suddenly, Aiko's piercing scream shattered the tense silence. The brothers bolted to her room and found her writhing in her bed, her wrist dripping blood from tiny punctures. Her eyes were shut tight, yet her mouth hung open, emitting a guttural, animalistic growl. Terrified, Akio wrapped her wrist while Kenji tried to rouse her. That's when the temperature in the house dropped. Their breaths fogged the air. From the darkened hallway, Akio saw it. A tall, black figure, its head nearly scraping the ceiling. It had elongated limbs, clawed hands, and a wide, toothy grin. It didn't move, just stood there, staring. And then, in an instant, it vanished. Back at the table, Kenji screamed as an invisible force dragged him down the hallway. Akio lunged, grabbing his brother's hands, but something stronger pulled him into his bedroom closet. The door slammed shut with a deafening crash. Akio yanked the door open seconds later, but Kenji was gone. Inside the closet, he found stacks of styrofoam meat trays, their plastic wrapping intact but empty. Kenji was never seen again. The police ruled it a runaway case, though the Nakamura family knew better. The house was sold, and the family splintered. Akio went on to become a lawyer, burying his guilt and fear in work. But the entity wasn't done. Years later, Akio returned to the house, determined to end what had begun decades ago. With him, he brought the tools to summon the creature once more. A new Ouija board, an offering of raw meat, and something else. Knowledge. As the story goes, Akio did summon it that night. Neighbors reported screams and a blinding flash of light. But when authorities arrived, the house was empty. Only the Ouija board remained, its planchette stained red. They say curiosity killed the cat, but in this case, it unleashed something far worse. To this day, the Nakamura house remains abandoned, and locals swear you can hear whispers of two words when you walk by. Feed me. What would you do in this situation? Would you take the risk or walk away? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more mind-blowing stories like this.